Good day, guys. You know how some projects turn out much better than you expected, and this is one of it. At least for me and my team, we are really pleased with how this vehicle turned out, this Landcruiser 80 series. Just a little bit brief history about this car before I go in detail about it. The owner bought it used, obviously, from Johor, and that's about 300-400 kilometers from KL. So it was a driving vehicle. He drove it back up, but of course, condition-wise, this vehicle had a hard life. I think it was used on site, so a lot of red earth anywhere. Engine spec for this vehicle it's with an automatic gearbox, A440F. So the one without the ECU. That's just a typical package, open diff front and rear, and it was the full-time four-wheel drive. So that's just the basic spec. But obviously chassis for this was 1HZ, which would have been the barn doors, but someone did the conversion midway and then converted the entire thing to an import model 1HD-T. Okay, and then going on from there, so he did drive it up. Before he engaged my service, he looked around, but he had in mind what he wanted to get done. And when he did come and see me, obviously he had a budget in mind, like most people do. And obviously with that budget, we were able to do quite a bit actually. Initially, for the first part of it, I would say the parts are very much needed. And I tell that with all the clients that come and see me. We always start with the reliability part, just get that out of the window and done with. So we did that, and what we put in is, so now talking about specs wise, what we did was bottom end, we were going to run 35-inch tires, which it is running right now. So it was going to be 35 on 17-inch rim, and what ratios we put in were 4.56 from AsLi. It came open diff, so we did put in lockers as well, front and rear, air lockers from AsLi as well. Long shaft has been totally done. Suspension wise, it's from Pedders. It's supposedly going to be a 4-inch lift, but effective lift is about 3.5 inch, which is common with most suspension brands. And links and all the trailing arms, the bushes and everything has been either changed to Pedders or Super Pro, so whichever was available at the time for the vehicle. That's for the bottom end. Brakes wise, it's running the heavy duty set from Pedders as well. Front rear is disc brake, so yeah, both ends heavy duty. Keep in mind the 12 valve rotors are smaller than the 24 valve, so brake wise you do feel a bit of a difference. But we did upgrade the booster to the double vacuum booster, a new product that Pedders has. At that time, this vehicle was the very first one that I fitted one on, and I think the very first one in Malaysia to put one on. And that changed how assisted the brakes are indefinitely. Front end, we put on an ARB bumper. I enjoy the ARB bumper for most of the builds, at least for the front, because it's just simple, it looks good, and it does its job. So ARB bumper in the front. Winch is from T-Max, a 12,500 pound winch. We had driving lights from Oxbeam, and then yeah, the side rails and sides custom, because although ARB does have them, but we wanted something with a bit more footing, so to get in and get out. I mean, I think the ARB ones are a bit too close to the body, so we designed something that sort of matches the bumper and then goes on to complement the overall look of the car. And then we would have for the rear, this is something I really like as well. It's also an ARB bumper, but it's a full set. So you have the jerry can and you have the tire carrier. And keep in mind, in Malaysia, for some reason, the rear bumper is super expensive. It's one of the most expensive rear bumpers throughout the entire range of vehicles. You know, I think the 80, 100, and 200 series have one of the most expensive bumpers, at least in Malaysia. So the fact that the owner was willing to go for it, awesome, and I think it really made the look of the car. So the 35s fit very well back there as well, 35 spare. The roof rack, what is running, it's also running the ARB base rack. Again, not something common that was done here, mainly because it's still a new product. Most of the vehicles that we fit with the 80 series are running the Rhino rack. Okay, and then engine wise, so this is very nice, full rebuild. And look, when we say full rebuild, we do a full rebuild. There's no cutting corners, everything is replaced. And the same thing with when it came to the axles and driveline, everything was replaced. Gearbox fully rebuilt. And again, by fully rebuilt means everything taken apart, everything put under a microscope. Torque converter was upgraded to 100 series 1. So quite a normal mod that we do. The valve body, we are not running the heavy duty version. We sort of see so far, I mean, we don't do a lot of towing here in Malaysia, so the original one seem to do all right. And then yeah, why I said this car was done in stages, I sort of convinced the owner to not do any of the aesthetic work in the sense of paint and body, because it came relatively good. Like, it was, I mean, the paint wasn't great, but it had paint and it was not really rusted out. So that's why I said focus more on getting it reliable, getting it drivable. And once we did that stage of the build, the owner actually took it out like that and drove it for about 8 to 10,000 kilometers before bringing it back for paint and interior. And interior it had this really weird tan color, tan mixed with the gray original color. So we went just fully black. The owner is someone who's very simple. He just likes things that he doesn't like too many colors. So if anything, he just wants things to be kept simple, especially for even the interior. And then when we finally did pick an exterior color, we sort of wanted it to be just minimal. Like, you wouldn't have, some people throw funky colors, but I think on a Landcruiser, you sort of just want to keep it as minimal as possible. The interior it's a mix between Napa leather and Alcantara, like real Alcantara. So we only have the license here in Malaysia to have it in black. So hence why I say, like, a lot of people would confuse microfiber with Alcantara. But anyway, I think it's done lovely, beautifully. We work with our partners from Dk.schweizer, so they are the ones who helped us out with the interior. Keep in mind, we do our builds all in-house, so even when it comes to Dk.schweizer, they actually come over to us, or if the seats would have to go to them, but the car actually just stays with us, which is something very nice. We get to oversee the entire build, and it's good for the owner as well. And then moving on to engine, I mean, we did the engine. So wiring wise, everything in the engine bay wise was stripped out, since we were adding in a lot of accessories, and there was future plans to add on a lot more accessories. We redid the fuse box. We added a fuse box just meant for accessories. There's a switch panel just meant for accessories. And then we put on, for monitoring, there's the scan. We have Works 6-in-1 gauge. So that monitors the ATF temp, the EGT, and the boost, which are parameters I feel the most important to monitor for a diesel vehicle and an overlanding vehicle. So this was going to be obviously the customer's retirement rig, something that he overlands or he goes camping during the weekends with, but still very much drivable on the road. And I think it's something that we did achieve, because if you sit in this car and you drive it, even with all the gear on it, it feels super comfortable. And I think, yeah, that's about rounded up. Oh yeah, and in-car entertainment, just before I let go, in-car entertainment comes from Pioneer. We work very closely with Piaa Malaysia. We supply and distribute, and we supply their, I wouldn't say distribute, they distribute, we supply their products for our builds. We don't just use it because we think they complement the Toyota especially very, very well. So everything is Pioneer in that vehicle, and every wiring that we did has been rated for it. Of course, the car has been fully sound deadened and soundproof and heatproof by help with, obviously, from our friends at Wurth. So we use a lot of Wurth products throughout the entire cars, a lot of consumables that we use from them. Just to add on a few more things, we have an ATF cooler from PWR. Again, that's from our good friends from Ausoilmalaysia. They distribute that. Penrite fluids all around, Ryco catch tank. Yeah, I think, and it also has a Davis Craig high volume, high flow fan as well, AC fan fitted on it. Radiator also was upgraded. So cooling wise, this car is pretty awesome. I would say that most of the HD engines and even the actually the HD engines don't have a heat issue. The HZ don't have as well until you start pushing boost through them. So yeah, most of the H model engines don't have a heat issue, but with all the gears that we did load up, so we wanted to make sure that the owner would not have this issue whatsoever. Besides that, I think I've almost gotten everything. There's so much work that was done to it, so much fine details that were done to it, and it's impossible to cover in trying to condense the video and to cover everything. Anyhow, those who did follow throughout the build on Facebook or Instagram and wherever, I'd like to thank you guys and see you guys on the next one when I have another 80 series that is going to go out soon, and that will be a next video for it. Thank you guys. See you guys soon. Bye bye.